So what I'm bringing to the Awaken Summit is the intersection between the emotional work, evolution of our consciousness, and breath work and the emotional work as well. So today I'm going to be hosting a seminar this afternoon at 4 o'clock called Elevate Your State, helping people learn how they can harness their breath to create shifts emotionally, spiritually, physically in their nervous system. And then tomorrow afternoon I'm hosting an Ascension breathwork journey, a more deeper experience for people to really connect, reconnect, recalibrate and create some shifts in their life.
It's time for some insight to breathwork. I've spent 30 years of my life, this time dealing with expanded states of consciousness triggered by crystal mandalas, and one of the few things I've come across that compares to that in terms of efficacy is breathwork. So Scott's going to share with you his journey into breathwork, and he's going to do some breathwork practice with you. It used to be called in the old days, I believe, rebirthing, but that's going back a long way, right? So please allow yourself to be led by Scott into a deeply expanded state when the time is right, and that just means you letting go of all conscious thoughts and preconceptions. And it gives me great pleasure, with your help, to welcome Scott to the stage now. Let's give him a big welcome. Scott!
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another day here on planet Earth, hey? How great. Another opportunity to learn, to grow, to connect, to experience, to be a feeling human being here in this timeline. So welcome to the Awaken Summit, welcome to the Awaken Conference here in Sydney. I'm from a much warmer part of the world called the Gold Coast, where it's shorts, singlet, and very warm weather most days of the week. So enjoying the Sydney temperate energy. So this afternoon is going to be an opportunity to explore some theory, some guided practices, some knowledge. My intention is to hopefully help you understand more about yourself, to potentially trigger you, to potentially create some more understanding about what's happening in your life and how you can use tools like breathwork to support you to navigate this journey of life. So before I keep talking more, because there's going to be 40 minutes of that, let's take a moment to really start grounding into this space. So if it feels good for you, you can close down your eyes, just relaxing your shoulders, and we're just going to take a minute to connect in with this moment, to really arrive here in this space. Starting with some breath awareness and just bringing your focus to your breath without it needing to change, without anything needing to be different, just noticing how you are breathing in this moment. Your breath is the door, is the key to understanding more of your internal state, the state of your nervous system and your emotional well-being. So in this moment, noticing if your breath is short and deep, noticing if your breath is really fast, is it slow, and noticing maybe if you're not breathing much at all. And no matter where you're breathing from in this moment, just meeting yourself with acceptance, non-judgment, compassion, and now taking a nice, slow, deep breath in through the nose. And letting go with a bit of a sigh or a sound. Let's go for 4 more before we continue. In through the nose. Let's bring a bit of sigh into this space. A nice deep inhale. Letting out a sigh or a sound. 2 more breaths fully in. And last breath fully in. Letting out a big sigh or a sound. Feeling a bit more grounded, a bit more connected, a bit more present with what's alive for you. And when you're ready, opening your eyes, coming back into the space. Turning to the person next to you, giving them a high five and saying you are loved. Great. Okay, so I'll give you the consolidated version as to how I got into breathwork for a bit of context. I spent most of my life passionate about the environment, ecology. My first career was in marine biology. Ended up studying law after working in a lot of activism and advocacy. Went on to run in 2 elections in Queensland for the Animal Justice Party, and it was during that year that I was navigating a separation from my partner. My mother-in-law had just passed away. I was extremely stressed out. The relationship became quite abusive, and it's not something that a lot of men speak about, domestic violence and abuse in intimate relationships where men are on the receiving end. On one level, I believe I called this in to help me grow and evolve to become the man, the leader that I am today. But it was a very pivotal time in my life where I didn't realize how dysregulated I was. I didn't quite know what was going on in my life. I felt overwhelmed. I'm trying to navigate political campaigns, financial stress. I was on Centrelink at the time as well, wanting to create the new earth, but I was struggling to create like a just peace of calm in my life. So during that experience, I remember sitting down on the couch one day after handing out flyers at the polling booth to hundreds of people and, promoting our work and vote one, Scott Wallace and all this sort of stuff. What's worse than a politician? Like a vegan politician, right? It's like next level hate and projection, like I'm used to it. So I was sitting down at home on the couch, and I didn't even give myself permission to sit on the actual couch. I sat on the armrest. When you come home and you don't actually stop, you think you're stopping, but you're so activated and you're so stressed out and in that go, go, go activated sympathetic state that you don't actually stop. You don't give yourself permission to fully rest. And so I remember sitting down, scrolling on Instagram to dissociate from all the challenging things happening in my life at that time, and I came across a video of a guy doing breathwork. And it's this guy called Lucas Mack from Awaken Breathwork. And he goes, fam, shit is crazy in the world right now. Let's just stop and breathe. And I was like, amen, bro, let's do some breathing. And so I opened this video, I closed my eyes, sitting on the armrest of the couch, and I'm breathing in. At the time, I was really over-exaggerated because I thought that's how you needed to do breath work. So I would have been like, 5 breaths in, all of a sudden, I feel this energy coming through my system. Tears start streaming down my face. I'm feeling all these vibrations and tingles, and the overwhelm of everything that was happening in my life hit me in that moment. And it was like the whole universe just like, boom, here you go. This is what you're navigating. Here's all the stress. Here's all the tension that you didn't feel before, that you didn't give yourself permission to feel. So that was my in into breath work. Since then, I have gone all in on coaching, mentoring, facilitating, transformational work, breath work, leadership, business development for people, and to help people learn how to use their breath to create shifts in their life. And so the first simple practice that I want to share with you all is that breath awareness, to actually prioritize time to stop. To prioritize time to slow down. To connect in with our present state, using the breath as that portal, using that breath as that doorway into your inner world. So I intentionally spoke really fast for the first 5-10 minutes so you can pick up on the energy of activation, so you can pick up on what the energy is like when we're feeling anxious, when we're feeling stressed, when we're living in a state where it's like a lot. So let's start down regulating. Let's start to use our breath to create more energetical shifts. That simple practice of closing down your eyes and breathing in through the nose and exhaling out the mouth. In through the nose. Exhaling out the mouth. What that does, it stimulates part of your nervous system known as the parasympathetic nervous system. Who's heard of the parasympathetic nervous system? Who does breath work regularly here? Who doesn't, and that's why you're here now? And a raise of hands, who's experienced like a big breathwork journey, like a full 2-3 hour dropping in and like sending it kind of thing? Yeah? Great. So the parasympathetic nervous system, this is the part of you where your rest and digest energy lives. So it's where we feel safe, we feel open to connecting, we feel regulated, and we're like, okay, things are good, I'm navigating things, and I feel safe, open, receptive. Now, that breathwork technique helps you stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So the reason why that is if you take a breath, whether it's in through your nose or in through your mouth, imagine that's the accelerator. So every time you're inhaling, that's your accelerator. Your exhale, consider that to be your brakes. So if you are really extending your exhale, you're putting on the brakes. And just for the experience, let's just take a moment to connect in with your pulse point, whether it's on your neck or on your hands. And in a moment, we're going to take a big, deep breath in, and I want you to notice if you notice that subtle shift in your heart rate. So feeling your pulse, and in a moment, we're going to take a breath in 3, 2, 1. Big breath in, holding it on the top, noticing that pulse rate. And now exhaling slowly, noticing that pulse rate. Great. So who noticed a shift in their pulse rate with their inhale and exhale? Who didn't notice a shift? Yeah, it's totally normal. So that's some of the simple mechanics behind breath, understanding that we can use our breath to create physiological shifts. We can use our breath to stimulate different parts of the nervous system. And it's an absolute key. It is so, so powerful. So on one side, as I shared, you have the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's where the rest and digest state is. But there's also another part to the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is what we refer to as our dorsal vagal complex, our DVC. And that part of the nervous system, when you're in a stress response, when something has created a stress response in your nervous system, if you're in your parasympathetic nervous system, that can look like a freeze response where you feel immobilized, where you feel numb, you feel disconnected, you feel stuck, may feel overwhelmed with what's happening, and it's literally like we feel so immobilized and stuck and we don't know what to do next. Who can relate to feeling that at some point in their life? So it's not only the mental thing that's happening, on a nervous system level, your body's going into that state. Now, the other stress response that is there is our fawn stress response. So this is when we can be submissive. This is when we can say yes when deep down it's a fuck no. Those moments where we know deep down that we're not in full alignment with what we're doing or saying, but we actually don't know how else to handle it other than, whatever you need, okay. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, this has been a common experience that I've heard with a lot of my female clients that have experienced sexual abuse, sexual assault, where that stress response kicks in and it's the people pleaser or it's the freeze, because the experience has become too much and the body just goes into a shutdown to minimize harm, minimize pain, and minimize the intensity of that experience. Now, it's not only in those experiences where that stress response gets triggered, it can be a daily thing. Your partner can say something to you and it can trigger you into a stress response, and then all of a sudden you're playing small. All of a sudden you don't know what's going on, but you're like, yeah, whatever you need, and deep down you're like, I don't know how to approach this differently. I'm just going to say yes. I'll avoid the conflict. Just pull back. So can you guys relate to the freeze and the fawn stress response? Have you had an experience in your life where that's been the way that your body has responded? So it's normal. I want you to understand that. It's not necessarily something negative and bad to be rejected. It serves a survival purpose for you. It's a survival strategy to help you stay safe and manage what's happening. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, over on this side, this is our sympathetic nervous system. So your sympathetic nervous system, this is a more alert, focused, and activated state of being. Now, if you're in a stressful situation and your sympathetic nervous system is activated, what do you think that looks like in terms of a stress response? It's yelling, great. What else? Screaming? Stomping? No. What else? Hitting, yeah. Crying. So that's the fight response. There can be aggression. It can be like, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to unleash all of my arsenal on you because part of you feels there's a perceived threat. Part of you feels you're perceiving danger in that experience. So it's like, I'm going to become louder, stronger, overpower you, whether I'm going to go straight to the emotional jugular and say the thing that you know is going to affect someone. That can be the fight energy. That's in a sympathetic nervous system. So if you're in a stress response and it looks like that, or if you're seeing someone and that's how they're responding or reacting, you can understand they're in a stress response and it's in the sympathetic nervous system. High energy, alert, focus, let's go. Now there's another stress response in the sympathetic state. Does anyone know what that is? Yeah. Gut tightens up, you've got to run to the bathroom. Yeah, we're like, no, too much, see ya. Is it gone yet? Is the threat gone yet? Is that uncomfortable conversation I'm avoiding, is that gone yet? That message that comes through that you don't respond to, that you avoid? That thing you don't lean into? The tension that you try to run away from, but it's actually internally, not in the other person? That's the flight energy. So when you're in a sympathetic state, you have energy to move, you have energy to get shit done. And when you're in a stress response, it looks like fight and flight. So understanding those four stress responses can allow you to better identify what's going on for you in any given moment, to know where in your nervous system you are, and to use your breath to learn how to come out of those states and how to activate those states in your nervous system. Does this make sense so far? We're building some layers onto this. So until you are present to what's happening in your body, until you choose to slow down and breathe and feel and connect with the sensations in your body, you're often going to be making decisions and choices in an unconscious way without giving it much thought. Because you're operating off survival programming, operating from a way of being that is going to create often a limited experience for you. So before we continue, let's take a moment to notice your breath again. Over the last 5-10 minutes, has your breath been slow and deep? Have you been holding your breath? Have you been on the edge of your seat? Have you been like, this is so boring, why did I choose to be here? So noticing your breath, because it's your responsibility to self-regulate. It's not your partner's responsibility. It's not your boss's responsibility. It's not your children's responsibility. It's yours. And guess what? You have that power within you. Guess what? You can create change. You have free will. Sovereign beings. So let's take a nice big deep breath in all together. Out the mouth, extending that exhale. Let's go for another 4. 3 more. Relaxing the shoulders with each breath, starting to soften, starting to connect more. 2 more. And on this last breath, letting out a big sigh or sound. Beautiful. Opening your eyes, coming back. So sometimes all we need in our life is to take 5 breaths. 5 breaths can be the opportunity to go from something happening to give you enough space and time before you react to it. Creates enough space and time for you to go, what is actually alive for me right now? What am I feeling? What's happening in my mind? What's happening in my heart? What am I noticing in my body? And to come out of a heightened state of awareness and overwhelm and to connect with ourselves, our internal world. Is this flow been valuable for you guys so far? Quarter of the group? Okay. I can tweak things. After facilitating hundreds of workshops and seminars, I don't sit down and plan these things. I tune into what is alive and what comes through for me as a conduit. So I'm here to interact and co-create with each and every one of you today. Great. So the stress responses, we understand we have 4 stress responses. What are your dominant stress responses? What's your one main go-to? Flight? Scream? Yeah, fight. Who's on the other side? Who's in a freeze right now? It's like, yeah, some of you it's the freeze and the fawn. So if you can identify what stress response you're in or someone may be in, you can also best support them. Hands up in the room if you are a mentor, facilitator, a coach, a practitioner, someone working with people in an organization, a business. Okay, so whether you are in a position of leadership, in management, or just humaning every day, as we do, the more awareness you've got around people's energy and the state of their nervous system, you can better support them and actually hold space for people in a better way. If you identify someone is in a reactive fight or flight state, well, you can choose how you're going to respond to that. Because when someone's in a fight response and they're angry and they're reactive, they're ready to take you down. Like, if you bring more of that energy, what's going to happen to that situation? It's just going to escalate. It's going to escalate. Yes, it will escalate, correct. So to notice, okay, in those moments, and if I look back in the moments in my previous relationship where my partner, who was, in my mind, this is going to be the mother of my children, this is my lover, this is my one person, and here she is, showing up in a verbally abusive way, showing up in a physically abusive way, property damage, gaslighting, the most horrible things that I've ever heard coming from this person. A lot of the time, she was in a fight stress response. And so I didn't know that. I knew a part of me was like, this is really intense and I don't know how to diffuse this. And for me, I was, in terms of attachment styles, who's heard of attachment styles? Half the group, great. So when I'm not in a secure, healthy attachment style, it shows up as anxious attachment. So I'm just like, oh my God, let's make things better. Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Can we just sort this out, please? Can we just have a conversation? Because I'm feeling really like insecure and like, oh shit. So take someone who's in a very angry, fearful state and me coming at them, bringing more energy. Can you see how that's a recipe for disaster? Can you see how that ain't going to make things better? I was dysregulated. She's dysregulated. It's just a whole smoothie of dysregulation. And like, I love smoothies, but that one tastes horrible. And so now with the knowledge that I have, the awareness that I have, I look back on those experiences. I look back on what I've gone through and go, oh yeah, okay, in that moment, I was in a flight response. In that moment, I was in an angry, agitated fight energy. So it's like the more you understand about your physiology, the more that you can use tools like breathwork to come back into your center, to feel what's going on. From that point, you can make aligned, informed, and empowered decisions in your life. But if you're still operating off survival programming, if you're living in a dysregulated state, which a lot of people are, unfortunately, a lot of people are living in a functional stress response. meaning they're often in a dysregulated state, often in a sympathetic, I just need to go, 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 work, relationships, business, finances, family, da-da-da-da-da. That's the normal. They don't actually fully stop, reset, recalibrate, and center themselves, because when they do stop, they go into an overwhelm and a collapse because they've been going for so long. And so I see a lot of people going between a sympathetic, overwhelmed state and then shut down, immobilize too much, and they're like, oh my God, I need to get back to work. So they go into like da-da-da-da, then they're like, yes, I've got to make this happen. And I see it, and I've lived it. And so I know what it's like to not wake up. I know what it's like to not want to wake up and do the day. I've experienced my own experiences of grief, of sadness, of trauma, of disruption. And the noise that we have in our mind can be such a interesting, destructive, confusing, juicy part of our experience. And so breathwork can not only support you to better regulate your nervous system, but also to help you quieten down your mind. During even a daily breathwork practice of 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're starting to slow down your brain waves. And at the moment, we are all in a beta brainwave state. We're in a very alert, focused, rational, logical part of our mind. Through breathwork, you start slowing down those brainwaves, coming into a low beta, coming into an alpha brainwave state, and in the bigger breathwork journeys and ceremonies, starting to access your theta and starting to access your delta and sometimes gamma brainwave states. When you're in these brainwave states that are much slower, you're accessing the unconscious mind. You're tapping into the subconscious material that is available to you beyond the noise, beyond the chaos, and beyond the part of you that's trying to think your way to a different life. It's not meant to be thought through to create change all the time. The mind can serve us, but do not allow it to dictate your reality and who you are and how you're showing up. It's meant to be used as a tool. So during a breathwork journey, for example, when I'm guiding my clients and our workshops to an hour to 3 hour experience, we're focusing on breathwork, you're accessing these altered states of consciousness. So we come out of the noise and you start tapping into more of your non-physical self. You start to tap into your past timeline that has a lot of information, a lot of insight, also a lot of challenges. It can be filled with trauma, it can be filled with wins that you haven't celebrated, and everything in your past. It allows you to access that, because we start creating shifts in a part of our brain called the limbic brain. So the limbic brain is what processes your memory, processes your emotion, and when you slow down those brain waves, it allows you to become to create a coherent connection with your limbic brain. Now, in that state, there's another really interesting thing that's happening. Has anyone heard, all the breath workers maybe, the default mode network? Default mode network. Okay, write that down if you haven't. It's really, really cool. The default mode network is the part of the brain, part of the mind, part of the brain, I should say. Imagine it's like the security guard or the bouncer. So let's say you've got your unconscious mind, all the unconscious material in let's say this doorway, okay? Imagine there was a big dude standing right in the middle who's like, not gonna let you in. That's the default mode network. And so the default mode network is the part of us that is trying to protect us from the unconscious thing that's getting in the way of information and energy flowing between the conscious and the unconscious mind. Now, when you slow down your brain waves, activity in the default mode network slows down. And that is associated with a dissolution of the ego. Because the conscious mechanisms that don't want you to change, the conscious mechanisms that are getting in the way of you living a different reality, the part of you that doesn't want to feel the uncomfortability has been stopping you. So I know some of you have put in so much effort and energy over the years to create change in your life, and it's maybe just on a conscious level, but there's all this all this potential in the unconscious mind that's so important for us to tap into. And each and every one of you can start to access that more through breathwork. Meditation as well, another practice to help you slow down those brain waves. So during that experience where the default mode network activity is slowed down, you're accessing more of your unconscious material. You're also starting to shift energy through your body-mind system with breath work. It creates that's just some of the ingredients as to why people can have such big releases and shifts during breath work. You're quietening the mind, stepping out of your own way, allowing the body to do what it needs to do, to process, to feel, to express, and allow the stress response to actually come into completion. And a lot of the work I do with my clients is allowing them to complete that stress response because it's been locked in the body. Who's heard of the book, Body Keeps the Score? It's a great one. So the body is the unconscious mind, and the things that you don't process, whether it's you don't process it energetically or through the body or mentally, get stuck in the body. And so year after year after year of unprocessed experiences builds up, creates disease, creates dysregulation. So breathwork can support you with that and so much more. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to be hosting another session in here. It's going to be a bit more of an activation, some more breath work, and whatever wants to come through for tomorrow. And I do live up on the Gold Coast, and our next face-to-face experience is going to be in Brisbane next week, and then I'm coming to Melbourne for our 3-day immersion. So for some of you wanting to deepen this work, find out more about our events and training, I do have a stall inside as well. I'll be here for the rest of the afternoon. Feel free to come and chat. And it's such a privilege to be able to travel around Australia and the world, connecting with people, hosting these spaces, and really bringing the medicine and power of breath work into the world. I see this as a tool that can help us continue to evolve our consciousness through clearing out the vessel, helping us tap into our non-physical parts of our experience, and really exploring the unseen realms that we all know are there. And that's the reason why you're here today, because we know there's more than just a body. We know there is so much more that's happening. And for someone who has a science degree and a law degree, has gone through academia, I dismissed a lot of spiritual experiences because I was like, nah, there's no proof of that. It doesn't fit a scientific model. And now I'm like, oh my God, there's science to support my spiritual experiences, and it all makes sense. So thank you all so much for being here today. I'm going to open up for a few minutes of, wait, actually, do I have till 4:45? I think I've got 40 minutes. Hold on. Yeah, 4:45. Okay, I've got 8 more minutes. That's good. Let's do a bit of breath work, and then we'll close up with some questions. How does that sound? Awesome. So the breathwork technique I'm going to share with you now, we've gone through the restorative breath, which is in through the nose and out through the mouth. But now I'm going to share with you conscious, connected, activating breaths. And so we do this by breathing in through the mouth, filling up our lungs and our belly, and letting it go. Breathing deeply, breathing fully. Now, if you're pregnant, if you have heart conditions, strokes, seizures, if you have had big recent surgeries, if you have glaucoma or retinal detachment, and if you've experienced psychosis recently where you've been sent to hospital, for example, this activating breathwork technique is not recommended for you. It's a medical contraindication. Even 5-10 minutes can be detrimental. So if that's not you, you can do today's practice breathing in and out of the mouth. And if you have any of those conditions, just do this in through the nose and out through the mouth in a more gentle way. Alrighty, fam. Let's close down our eyes. Beautiful. And in a moment, we're going to find our first breath all together here. And inviting you to put in the effort and energy with today's practice. It's going to be short, but go all in, whatever that looks like for you. And we're going to find our first breath in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Finding your unique rhythm, finding your unique pace with your breath, breathing deeply and breathing fully. Keeping this breath going. Starting to bring some energy into motion, knowing you are safe, you are guided and supported. Visualizing a beautiful white light surrounding you and protecting you as you breathe deeply and as you breathe fully. Inviting you to close down your eyes, inviting you to breathe and to connect with your inner world. Let's go for 1 more minute, putting in the effort and energy. Starting to feel any vibrations and tingles and sensations through the body-mind system. 30 more seconds. Let's go for 5 more breaths. 5, 4, 3 more. And on your last breath, inviting you to take a nice full deep breath in. Now exhaling fully, emptying all the air out of your lungs and coming into a breath hold. Coming into a breath hold, relaxing your shoulders, palms facing upwards if that feels good for you, opening up to receive. Allowing that energy to guide you. And asking yourself the question, what does my inner guidance want me to know right now? What does your inner guidance want you to know right now? Opening up to receive any colors, symbols, emotions, visions. And when you are eventually ready to breathe, coming in through the nose and out through the mouth, slow, deep, restorative breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now starting to down-regulate the nervous system. And now you may like to bring a bit of movement slowly into the body, just starting to bring your focus into the present moment and feeling what is in your body, noticing any sensations, knowing you are safe. And if it feels good for you, you may like to place your hands on a part of your body that feels like it can do with some love, some good energy, some good vibes. Taking a nice slow deep breath in through the nose, letting out a big exhale. Dropping your arms down and opening your eyes, coming back into the space. Welcome back, Earthlings. So with that practice, who noticed a shift in their energy, a shift in their state? Who felt maybe a bit lightheaded, a little bit like, whoa, that was really intense? Imagine doing that for an hour. It's wild. So that's not even a 5-minute practice. That whole thing, 5 minutes. So moving forward, I invite you all, if you don't have a daily breathwork practice, to bring in 5 minutes of breathwork. That last technique that I shared with you, that we shared, the last technique we shared with you, own it. is actually one that stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, gets you in an activated state. So if you're wanting to like get fired up, if you're wanting focus, if you're wanting to like just get that energy in motion, do 20 or 30 activating breaths and then be able to bring it back down with the restorative breaths. So, great, we've got 1 more minute. Let me turn it to you guys if there's a question or two before we wrap up for today. Yes. Powerful combination, 100% very powerful. So whether you're working with instruments or experiencing something where you are bringing in instruments into a live breathwork and sound journey, highly recommended. Even the choice of music you have in a breathwork journey or meditation can be so powerful. So powerful combination, yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. 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 So when we're in that state, we're hyper activated. So just gentle, slow, restorative breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just take 10, 20 of those breaths. It's going to start down regulating the nervous system. And once you come out of that state and we're connecting in with the breath, you can start to feel more of what's going on, and you may have emotions to process. There may be things that are ready to surface. But until you may be in an environment that's objectively safe. You may be in a relationship that's objectively safe, but your perception of danger on a nervous system level is what's going to trigger the stress response. So often the threats that we think are real are not real. But when you can master your emotional state, master your nervous system, and deepen with tools like breath work and get to the root cause of the anxiety and the stress that's occupying your mind and your heart and your body, we can start to create more freedom. It does take time sometimes, but also I've seen clients drop decades of tension in 1 hour. It's possible. Great. I think there's another seminar after mine. Yeah, great. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of this afternoon's seminar. My name is Scott Wallace. Feel free to check out our work at Earth Centered. We run workshops, retreats all around Australia. We have group coaching programs and a whole suite of one-on-one work. I would love to connect with you after today. My stall's over there inside, and I look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow. And keep breathing. Keep awakening to the true power and the wisdom that is within each and every one of you, waiting to be unlocked. Let's get it. Thank you. And it's so great to see so many different modalities here. Other people who are passionate about the work they're offering to the world. And I think it creates such an incredible network and community where people can actually immerse themselves in so much different knowledge, practices and experiences. So it's a real great hub here in Sydney this weekend where people have a lot of different things they're working through, but I've already got so much value, connections and contacts from today. It's day one, so definitely recommend the space.